Likkutei Balak, Ayin Daled, second column, into the level of in Ois Daled. Okay, about 15 lines from the end of the page. Okay, now Rabbi explained there's 3 levels of tshuva. So made asay teiv, and then the 3rd level of tshuva is ta'atzma saints off. That's, you know. And then the last thing we're learning, the Rabbi said this, the word b'chor, beis chaf reish, is singles, tens, and hundreds. Beis chaf reish. And he said, one second, he said these 3 levels are connected to nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Nefesh is more prone to sin because it's the level of asiya, and asiya is the world of klipa, so therefore it's more prone to that. Okay, that's what we're up to. And the tshuva beis is the level of ruach. The 3rd level of tshuva is the level of neshama. Okay, what?
Why is this connected to Balak?
This is all the pasuk of Mateva Alacha Yaakov. He started the Maimer by asking, what's the level of Yaakov in Yisrael, by Avram, and then he started going into why does the neshama come down into the world to become Batshuva, and then he explained there's 3 different levels of Tshuva. Like the Maggid said, "Hamachshava zol tzadikim gemurim pegim Yosef me'avenis chamuris shel am haaretz." The Maggid said that the foreign thoughts of tzaddikim are worse than the actual aveirus of the masses. Vizel was fever of Nisara Miyait. Ba'amid Azan Chazal say on this pasuk in Tilim, Balaam Shagosh Baruch Medaktikim Sviva Kechut aside Hashem is very meticulous about the people close to him, meaning tzaddikim, like even the width of a hair. Like we find in last week's Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu hit the rock, yeah? And according to the Medrash, he talked to the rock. It was the wrong rock. If you look at it, we do much worse things 1,000,000 times a day. And Moshe Rabbeinu, and Hashem said, you didn't sanctify me by hitting the rock. Even though hitting the rock and getting water is also sanctification. But it could have been more through talking to the rock. So what did he do already? Yet the Gemara says, Hashem is medactic. Hashem is meticulous, very strict with tzaddikim, like the width of a hair. And he says, okay. These are the 3 letters, b'chor, the 3 levels of tshuva. He said these 3 things are connected to nefesh, ruach, neshama. Right? The first level of tshuva is sur merad, the level of asiya, which is the letter beis. Then you have the level of asay tev, which is the level of yitzira, is the level of 20 chafs. And then the highest level is the reish. He says, ki bebriya shanesham is asfiras klum kolachem miyud. V'yud miyud al kein hem bechinas meyes. He says, because in the world of Bria, okay, which is the level of neshama, nefesh, ruach, neshama, it says each one is composed of 10, and 10 times 10, and therefore that's the level of meyes. Or yitzira and including rak miyud. And in the world of yitzira, they're only composed of 10 levels. Or ba'asiyim rak bechinas nukud levad. And he says, like it says in Eitz Chaim, Shabbatziyah bechinas nukud levad. Kabbalistically, Bria is a level of hundreds, and therefore it's reish, and Yitzira is a level of tens, therefore it's chaf, and Asiya is a level of ones, so therefore it's beis. Because the spheres of Asiya, hem katnas betachlis, are very, very small. They're okay, begim lo, and these 3 letters, beis, chaf, reish, or Tshuva of Sumer Asay Tev, and the other one, or Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, or Bri, Yitzir, and Asiya, all these 3s, Merumozim, Ganki, Binyan, Brachas. Then we say the level of Brachas. Baruch, I know, Al Gimel, Am Shachas. When we say Baruch, yeah, and now the Rebbe is going to say in a second, the word Baruch is really Beis Reish Chaf. right? The Vav is a vowel. But Barech is Beis, Reish, Chaf. That's again, Beis, Reish, and Chafs. Singles, tens, and hundreds. The same word as Bechor is the word Barech. Except switch the elaboration, the Chaf around. So what do we say? That's the Gimel Amshachas of Ata. Hashem Elokeinu, and that's the level of Barech. B'chayrasi and B'chasi. Okay? So he says like this. The three levels of Bechor, which again is the three levels of Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, Asiya, Yitzira, and Bria, that corresponds with the word Baruch. Now there's three Hamshachas. We say Baruch means to bring down. What are we bringing down? Ata, Hashem, Elokeinu, which again is these three levels that he spoke before. The highest level of tshuva is to the level of Ata, Lifnei Hashem, higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. Then there's a level of Havaya, and there's a level of Elokeinu. And that's what it says, Kaddish Li Kol B'chor. Sheyuk Be'shleisha Elomes B'riya Yitzir and Asiya, which are Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, through the three levels of tshuva. V'yizbadu Mishvirosam. They will be refined from the Shviras HaKelim that caused those worlds to happen. V'yisalu Le'elam Atzilis. And they'll be elevated to the world of Atzilis, and that's what it says, V'yikhuli Kol B'chor. What does the pasuk say? We say in Tefillin, Kaddish Li Kol B'chor. Sanctify for me, means separate from me, Li, all the B'chor. B'chor is B'riya Yitzir Asiya. Okay, what's the point, Aved of the Jew? Kaddish Li is Atzilis, to elevate the level of B'riya Yitzir Asiya through the three tshuvas, Somer Asay Taiv, and the highest level, to sanctify and elevate it to the world of Atzilis. It's remarkable. Why is 1 second in this world greater than the whole Olam Haba? Because you have the concept of the abundance of light comes from Cheshach. Okay.
Abundance of light comes from Cheshach.
The ultimate light comes from darkness is transformed to light.
Never in a million years one would think that Kaddish Li Kol B'chor means this.
Well, you're not a million years old yet, and you still got it. So obviously it's not in a million years. I won't say how many years, but that depends on your age. Okay, 148, 10 lines down, after the parentheses. The calls are, how do you do that? By taking away the Bechor from Esav. It's not done yet, by the way. What was the Aved of Yaakov Avinu? Remember, the Aved of Tikkun is to elevate Tehu. Remember, all the sparks come down, we have to elevate them. Tehu and Tikkun, Esav is Tehu, we learned, and Yaakov is Tikkun. Now, what's the Aved? The Aved is the Bechor, Beis Chafresh. That's why Yaakov had to steal or borrow indefinitely the Bechor, the firstborn rights from Esav, to elevate it to Kedusha. Because Tehu is the level what comes down into B'riya Yitzir Nasiya, Beis Chafresh. So Yaakov Avinu had to take that level and elevate it to Kedusha. Ke'esav B'chor, V'tzarech v'likach mimenu b'chayrasi. They had Shuvas, and now through the three levels of Tshuva, how? Akira Tzeratzin. Mitai b'selim hazeh. Hey mesur meirah. Meaning, Kaddish Li, Kaddish es atzmecha b'mutalach. The Gemara says, when it says, sanctify me, Kadeshim to you, the Gemara says, what do you mean sanctify? It doesn't only mean through mitzvahs, because you have to do mitzvahs anyway. It means even in permissible things, we should sanctify Hashem. Or, like you said, the third level of tshuva is Torah. Through uprooting the will of evil of Esav, you take away this powerful evil from Esav, you take away Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya away from Esav, and you make it Kaddish Li, you elevate it Tatzilis.
The other concept about Teshuvah, to 3 levels of Teshuvah and Bechor.
That's what he's saying. You take that level of tshuva means the things that you have to elevate.
But here it says Bria Siya.
That's what it's saying. He's saying that the whole time.
So both of them are the same.
Yeah. Same exact concept of taking the sparks of Esav that fell into Bria Tzir Nasiya and elevate it to the level of Kedusha, of Atzilus.
Or 3 levels of Shuva from 8.
Yeah, but that's the same 3 levels of Bria Tzir Nasiya. Sur Merah, he said, is Asiya, Asay Tev is Yitzira, and Liman Atayr is Bria. And that has to be elevated to the level of Atzilus.
Practically,
Be good. Be good, behave, the 3 B's. Bach. Ki Yetzer Hara v'Klipos, he says, because really, the Yetzer Hara and Klipa, hem mekablim gar chayis meratzon elyon. He says like this, evil also exists in Kedusha. Who sustains evil? He says, because if not, lo hoyelem chayis, they wouldn't have any existence without Hashem. Who gives evil existence? Hashem. And he says, va'adrabah, a magbiyim etz atman leinik l'mayla miyishtaushe with the level of Rav Chesed. He says, okay, the Shaila is like this. Chassidus explains, and again, Chassidus 101, everything has to exist from Hashem. Even evil. Hashem created evil. So Hashem gives existence to evil. Evil comes from a higher level of Kedusha, is nourished from a higher level of Kedusha than Kedusha does. Why? Because in order to internalize Kedusha, you need to be a vessel for it. Vessel for Kedusha means bittul. If you're full of yourself, you can't put anything into it. So a person is full of themselves, meaning not bottled to Hashem, Hashem cannot give them chayis in an internal way. Now Jews that come from the pnimius of Hashem, chelok elokah mimal, a Jew must get chayis in a pnimiustic way. Goyim are not a vessel to Elokus, because they're not bottled to Elokus, klipa. So therefore, they get their chayis from a level of Elokus that doesn't need a keli, i.e. makif level. Because for makifim, for the encompassing level that doesn't internalize, you don't need a keli. A keli is only if you want to internalize it.
Not fair, Rabbi.
I know it's not fair. So therefore, that's why is evil more powerful than good? Think about it. Evil is something Hashem doesn't want. Really, it's only it's not an end by itself. It's a means to an end. In order for good to do good, there has to be the opportunity to do bad, right? So why is evil so powerful if Hashem really dislikes it? And the answer is, Chassidus explains, because the nourishment of evil, because it's not a keli, and therefore it doesn't get the internalized level of Elokus. But God still has to make it exist, so it comes from the Makifim level. Makif is stronger than Pnimi. It's a higher level.
Does it last longer?
It's not a question of lasting longer. If you don't behave, it doesn't matter. By Jews, you sin, Galinu me'artzeinu. You go into Galus, right? You sin, like Dr. Rabbi says in Gesed Tshuva, Shechina goes into Galus, you drag godliness in him. Goyim don't have that. Goyim, when they sin, don't drag Elokus into evil.
Goyim what?
They don't drag godliness into evil, because they're not the rope of inheritance that you pull down the bottom, the top comes down with it. But they're chayis, because they're not a keli, so where do they get their existence from Kedusha? From a higher level of makif that doesn't need a keli. So what's the avodah of the Jew? To refine that level of makifim, tehu, which is higher than tikkun, in simple English, right? Makifim is tehu versus tikkun, that's pnimius. Yes? So when a Jew elevates tehu, they're revealing within themselves that makif level of teil that normally gives chayis to klipa, and they get it. That's the Aveda, Kaddish Li, to elevate it Tatzilas. Then we get the chayis, like he says in the food. You get the chayis in Tehu, which is greater than Tikkun, and that's how Neshama becomes greater than if it wouldn't do Torah mitzvahs. Yosef and Yaakov. And that explains, by the way, this concept explains a number of simple things. Why is evil taka so powerful? Think about it. Evil is very powerful. The power of doing evil is powerful. Darkness is much scarier than light. Darkness is more powerful than light. People are not afraid of light, they're afraid of darkness. Because darkness comes from a higher level than light does. Lower comes from higher. So evil, because it has to exist from Hashem, but it's not a keli, so therefore it gets to the higher level of makifim. So Parsha, evil is stronger because it gets a higher source of nourishment from God than Kedusha does. Why did Hashem make that in the whole scheme of things at Ishpil? Because the Aved of a Jew of Dira B'Tachteinim is when a Jew elevates darkness into light, Klipa into Kedusha, so then you reveal the ultimate, deepest levels of God that until now was nourishing evil, now it's nourishing Kedusha. And like he said, the first question he says, to understand the question, why does the Neshama come down into the world? Right at the beginning of the Maimer. What's the purpose of the Neshama coming into the world? Shamov's in such a high place in Gan Eden. Why in the world doesn't the Neshama come down? So therefore, the Alter Rebbe said that this whole 3 pages of the level of tshuva, that what does tshuva accomplish? That you elevate the klipa, the b'chor, beis chafreish, kaddish li, you elevate it to Atzilus. That level, without tshuva, the Neshama doesn't have on its own. Neshama only has pnimius, tikkun. Now the Neshama, by elevating the world, i.e. doing tshuva, because especially the 3rd level of tshuva has nothing to do with sins. It's the Ato level, that level causes the Neshama to be greater than it was before.
That's why the Goyim don't want us around, because when we do the mitzvot, we take their power off.
Correct. Why? Okay. The Gemara says, Rashi quotes it in the Chumash, Halacha Ravachas, Esav Seina LeYaakov. When Yaakov and Esav met, and finally Esav, they kissed, okay? So what happened all of a sudden? So Rashbi says, Rashi quotes in Chumash, Vayishlach from Rashbi, that Esav Seina, Halacha Ravachas, it's a known concept. Esav hates, a Goyim hate a Jew. What happened was a miracle that Esav opened up and he kissed Yaakov. It was an exceptional yichud between bad and good. Why does a guy hate a Jew? Think about it. Why does a guy hate a Jew?
They're jealous. Because we take their power away.
Because in source, yes, they don't realize it, but in Mazlaya Chazi, they see that the avoid of the Jew is to elevate the goy, meaning elevate goyishkeit, taking away their nourishment. So even though they don't feel it, but the mazel, lamaila, whatever their source of there is, they feel it, and they don't want a Jew taking away their powers. So they hate us. Competition. You hate your competitor. Otherwise, nothing makes sense. Why should it go? Think, the little mamzedim, the little Arab mamzedim, yeah? Or the little, I don't want to say, from 3 years old, they're already hating Jews. What the heck? I mean, how much, what did a Jew do to them already that they hate the Jew? Most of these people probably never even saw a Jew. And yet they hate him. Why is it? Jealous? It's not only jealousy. A rich guy hates a Jew also.
They don't want the land, they don't want
they're afraid of the mazel of them sees the Jew taking away all their existence. They don't want it.
Rather, when you elevate an equity, you don't take away the existence of that.
That's klipas neiga. You're talking about klipas neiga. You elevate the chayas of the apple that instead of it being in klipa, now it's in kedusha. That's elevating it out of klipa. Klipa doesn't like that.
And a goy, what do you do when you elevate them? The same thing happens, right?
You're not elevating the goy, you're elevating the goyishkeit. A Jew can't elevate. A goy is a goy. A guy is a guy. You're not elevating a guy. Even when a guy converts, you're not elevating the guy. He was always a Jew.
He helps you do a mitzvah.
So then he fulfills his purpose. That's the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Neach are all about. Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Neach is not to elevate the world. Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Neach doesn't, the Goyim don't elevate the world when they do their 7 mitzvahs.
We can elevate them.
No, but the Goyim do is they civilize the world that the Jew can then come in and do business to make money. Okay, I'm using a physical analogy. Now, in order for me to sit in an office and run a business, you know how many people it took to get that office ready for me? You know how many people it took to make the building, to build the building? You know how many people had to plant the trees, cut the trees to get all the wood that I needed? How many people were involved in making the computer or the pencil or the pen or the paper? Okay, all for one guy to sit in his office and run a business. What do you think the 7 billion Goyim and the 15, 16 million Jews can do? So the proportions are way out of proportion. But it takes 1,000 people for one guy to be able to sit in an office and do his job. So their role is not to elevate the world, to civilize the world, that a Jew can then come in and do the mitzvahs. That's why the Rambam writes that a tzaddik of Ummah Sa'elam, Chsidi Ummah Sa'elam, the righteous Goyim, the Rambam says clearly in Hilchos Melachim and in Hilchos Tshuva, only do the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach because Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai that Goyim have to keep 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach. And if not, they're not Chsidi Ummah Sa'elam. And as the Rambam writes clearly, you can have a perfect Goy who keeps all 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach. Bottom line is, he doesn't do it because Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai that Goyim have to keep mitzvahs. He's not Chsidi Ummah Sa'elam. Because their avodah in serving God is to civilize the world for Jews to be able to make a dinner v'tachteinu. So that's how you elevate the Goyim.
That's if the Jews do their job.
The Jews always do their jobs.
No, but I'm saying if they're doing crazy stuff, so what are they
Jews
doing?
always serve Hashem properly.
So Rabbi, elevating a goy, why does that make them angry at us? That should make them happy.
Because we're taking away that makif power from the Goyim, bringing it into Kedusha. Instead of the super powerful power, Kayach of Hashem, that gives existence to Klipa, now we're elevating it away from them and revealing it in Kedusha. Why should they like it? Somebody takes away all your business, why would you like them?
No, they're elevating your business.
Huh?
Somebody comes and elevates your business, you love them.
Azay, not if it's a competition.
But if it's a...
But it's not, the Jews and Goyim are competing for power for Kedusha.
Therefore, there will never be shalom.
Huh?
There will never be shalom between us.
Mashiach.
Of course.
That's what the Rebbe is screaming. Why are you giving back things for land? For peace. Peace is not going to happen. And meanwhile, the Rebbe writes, peace is a document signed that nobody has to keep and nobody will keep because the government's changed and they're the Rebbe said over that part of the world is shaky anyway. Any day you can have Saudi Arabia toppled, you can have everything toppled. In 10 minutes, the whole thing over there. And yet you're giving away practical, Kashmiristic land for a piece of paper. When I give you a business for a piece of paper that I owe you, someday I know you're not going to pay me. What type of stupid person does that? I'm going to give away my business to you, and you're going to write me a piece of paper that when you get money, you'll give it to me. Any normal business will sell a business like that. That's exactly what the Jews are doing right to throw. They're giving away land for a piece of paper that's worthless. Or for a UN promise, which is chel.
More worthless.
What?
Why do we take away William's existence?
We don't take away their existence. We don't kill them. this greater level of godliness that keeps them existing comes to us. So they're not that powerful anymore to be able to control us.
Wow. That's what Magen wrote in his book.